Hi guys, this is Carrie from The Creative Accent. Today we're going to walk through the shop feature of my new template, Allison Vine. Now Allison Vine is built for the Showit platform, and Showit itself is not necessarily an e-commerce website per se. However, there are options where you can set up the e-commerce function through a third-party integration and sell your products, physical or digital, on Showit. Okay, now we are inside of Showit. As a reminder, on the left side you see the mobile layout, and on the right side you see how it looks on a desktop. For the shop features in this template, there is a main shop page, which is the one that you see here, and you also have a product page. And the product page is set up for an individual product, and it uses canvas views to kind of split up the information. I've done a separate tutorial on that, so if you would look through, you will find how to edit the canvas views. I recommend that you have a look at that tutorial, which will help you edit this part. So on the shop page, you'll find different categories here on the top, as well as categories on the canvases below. Let me switch over so you can see on the page. So I've divided them up by category name, and category 2, category 3, and so you could come in and if you need to double click and rename this apparel or digital downloads or whatever makes sense for your business. What I've also done is I've set click actions here on the top. If I select one of these categories and I go to click actions, you can see that it's set to scroll to the canvas name. So here I just have it's shop all, so it scrolls to the first canvas, so that would be skincare. On skincare, the same thing. Hair and makeup, it will scroll down to the second one. So you can just make sure that your categories and your click actions line up. Let's just take a minute and see how this works. So here, I say I'm going to shop apparel. If I click apparel, it will then jump to the apparel canvas. Now let's talk a little bit about the settings inside of Showit. So if I click on my product category here, so product list 1, I see I have 3 different products listed, and you can swap out the photo. To do that, you would just need to double click, and that's going to open up your media library and you can select another photo. You can also adjust the price here and the product name. Now, if you would prefer not to have the arches, I realize that is personal preference, or the aesthetic of your brand. If that doesn't fit, you can come down here to effects, and you can see that this is an effect that I have used, but you could choose to make the edges more traditional and a rectangle. So that's up to you. Now, as I mentioned, Showit is not really intended for large-scale e-commerce, but there are still ways that you can sell your products through the platform. So let's say, for example, you have more than just 3 skincare items in your shop. If you want to add more under this category, what you could do is just go over to the product list. So here you have the product list, and click on these 3 dots. This will allow you to duplicate this canvas, and you may want to rename it. I just double clicked and rename it product list 1B or skincare 1, skincare 2, whatever makes sense for the product that you're using. And now you have these duplicated, and you can come in here and edit the image and change the product name, etc. I want to take just a minute to talk about the different click actions that you could set in order to sell your products. Now, if I click on one of these products and I go over to the right under the click actions panel, you'll see that it's set to page and the general product page. Now, if you're going to sell directly on your website, what you'll need to do is make a duplicate. Let me just go down here to the product page and make a duplicate of this page, And then you can come in and make your changes for each product. Change the name, the description, and the details down below. And we'll talk about that in more detail in just a minute. But just for this example, I'm going to double click and I'm going to rename it. So you probably want to name it for each product that you have. And I'm just going to call it test product. Okay, I'm going to go back to the general shop page. Now I've duplicated my shop page for this example, so that's why it's called shop 1. And now I'm going to go here. Now let's say this is going to be our test product, or whatever name you've chosen. Test product. I can change the name there. I can change how much it's going to cost. And I also want to change the click action. So now instead of the general product page, I want to send it to the page that's going to correspond with this product. So I can set that for both the image and for the product name, the title here below. Now that's one option, but let's assume that you're not going to sell directly on your website, which is also possible. Let's say that you have an Etsy shop or you have a shop on Creative Market or another platform, and you really want to direct your traffic to make your sales on that platform versus your website. That's also possible. I can completely understand that because there's a lot that comes with it when you want to sell through your own website. So all you would need to do, instead of setting the click action to a page, because a page is going to imply it's a page on your website, you can just change this to URL. So now you can just paste in the URL that links to your Etsy shop or to that other platform where you're actually selling the product. And I do recommend that you check open in a new window. That way they won't go away from your site. Your site will still be up in their browser, but it will open up that new window where they can buy your product. So let's have a look at our new product page that we made for the test product. Now let's just come in here and see what all we can change. So here we see what it looks like on the mobile device and here on a desktop. So on the left, you'll see there is an image gallery, and if you want to change out those images, you just need to come up here to Gallery Images, and you can remove them one at a time, or it's easier if you just click Manage Images. This is going to open up your media library, and you can just click on one and hold down the Shift key to select them all, and then you can delete. Let's just do this for the example. And then if you want to, you can come over here and select them one by one and add them with the arrow, or you can select them by holding down the Command key. So I've clicked on one and I hold down the Command key, and now I can come in and grab a couple of pictures to add to the new gallery. And then I'm going to hit Save. Now, if you wanted to make adjustments to your gallery, you could do that here under the gallery settings. So for example, you probably want to loop the images. You can change the dot color, and I have the ones that are not highlighted to be a little bit more, to have more opacity. Now this setting will automatically update when you change your design settings. So when you add in your brand colors, these will also automatically update. But if you wanted to make adjustments, you could do that under the gallery settings. Now I also want this to auto advance, so I can add in how much time should pass. Let's start with a second and a half, maybe 1.75. See how that looks. And then what you want to do is you want to come in here and change your product name, test product, change the price, add your description. Now in the description, I've given you a few tips on how you can set this up to sell. So for example, if you were going to use ThriveCart, you could have all of your details available on your website, but just the actual sales function would go through ThriveCart. So that would just be setting the click action of the Buy Now button to the URL that would link to your product on ThriveCart. So if you're going to do that, what you would need to do first is to set up the product on your ThriveCart account and get that URL. And that's the URL that you would put here under this click action for the buy button. So again, your buy button can link to anywhere you want it to go. It can link to your Etsy shop. It can link to your ThriveCart product page. It also works for the Send Owl users. Now, if you're using Shopify Lite, which I'm not, so I can't give you a concrete example here, but essentially you'll want to just delete this button and add in the corresponding embed code. So when you set up your product through Shopify Lite, you should be able to snag an embed code and you can plug that in here. Now, how you would do that, I'll just quickly delete this and I'll come down here to the middle icon and I can choose embed code. So then I'm going to position this frame however is going to make sense to hold the information that I'm going to need to pull from Shopify Lite that's going to have some sort of buying function, and then make sure that you update the mobile as well. I see this is not quite organized. So then you would just want to click and drag and adjust this embed frame. Let's move this up a little bit for whatever makes sense. And then you can double click and this is where you're going to paste in that code that you would pull from Shopify Lite or the other platforms that you might use to integrate with Showit. So just to finish giving you an overview of the product page, you have below that the details. So here you can include quite a lot of details in the canvas views in a way that's not going to be overwhelming to the visitor. So for example, I actually have the details on desktop different from the details on mobile. So on desktop, they're set up in these canvas views. So here you'll see each view contains different details inside and you can edit those however it makes sense for your product. Now, I advise that you would look at the general product page first, make your big adjustments, however that might be. For example, if you don't want to include FAQs under the details or something like that, make those big adjustments first before you start duplicating for each product. That way, you don't have to keep doing the same changes over and over again. But again, I recommend you see my other tutorial about using canvas views inside of this particular template. Okay, so let's have a look also at the details on mobile. So because it's not always easy to view canvas views like this on a mobile device, I've set those up separately where if you click on them, actually let's just have a look. Let's preview and go to the mobile. So here's the test product that we created, and down below then you see where you can add in your own details. So description, if I click on it, then this information will pop up, pop open, I guess, and the same thing for the others. And if I click it again or here on this arrow, then it will close. So that's a little bit more of a concise way to show all your information. Now I'm just going to open this up so we can finish having a look. So you have your details. Below that, I've also included a canvas for kind words and testimonials. That's an important part of, gaining that trust of your potential clients is to be able to show them the raving reviews from your past clients. So this is also set up in Canvas views and you'll be able to edit these or add more, and you can just click through them using the arrow here on the right. What I've also done is below that you'll find another Buy Now button. So they're up here, they're reading the details. If they continue to scroll, they'll have another call to action here to buy. So if we go back into Showit and I scroll down, here you can find the site canvas to edit the testimonials. And below that, you'll see that additional call to action button. And so here you would again want to set your click action to whatever makes sense, to your Etsy shop, to your ThriveCart, or use the embed code if you're using Shopify Lite. And here you want to double click and you want to change the name of your product. And finally, on the right side, you'll see a link that goes back to the main shop page. And just below that, you can plug in a few other options that they might like. So you could set this up as a site canvas and use the same on every page, or you could change this to bestsellers or most popular or newest collection, however you see fit for your business. A couple of final remarks about the shop features of Allison Vine. As I'm scrolling on the main shop page, I have also set up a pop-up, and I have a separate tutorial on how you can create a pop-up. So this would be handy if you're offering a special discount or some incentive to get them to sign up. Now, if you're not using email marketing of any sort, you can, of course, delete this. I'll quickly just go into the shop page so you can see how this is set up. Let me go to my shop and the individual canvases. So you'll see that I've created a separate canvas here. It's a very small 2-pixel canvas that triggers the pop-up. So the pop-up is actually made down here, and it is hidden to start, so it will not show unless it is triggered. So here you could come in and edit this. You could add your own embed code, change the image, change the text. And if you want, you could change where you put this trigger on your page. But again, I've made a separate tutorial about how to update the embed forms and how you can get started with email marketing. So there's one more thing that I want to mention. If you plan on selling products through your shop, then it's recommended that you have a terms and conditions page. In general, you should have a privacy policy up and a terms and conditions page. And to get you started, I have included a legal page in this template. You can see here, this is just filler text to show you what it could look like when you add in your own information. Now, I know drafting these can be really overwhelming sometimes. I am an affiliate of the contract shop, and I've used Christina's templates in my own business. So she does have a package with a terms and conditions and a privacy policy template. So hopefully this will help you out as you're drafting those for your own brand.